himself with out-and-out radicals. Some of them are socialist. One of them was a communist. Isn't it reasonable to ponder the question, what kind of transformation is he shooting for? I have pondered that question for many months, and I don't have an answer. But I've also pondered this. If you wanted to use emergencies, if you were that kind of person, if you were a radical, and God forbid you wanted to take control of a country because it was the right thing to do, the people were too stupid. In an emergency situation, what would you need control of? How would you do it? How could you make sure that you could just lock everything down? You could control it, and then you could transform it. This is just a list I've come up with. I mean, I don't know. Manufacturing and industry, financial, media, communications, the military, energy, and education. Got it? Education is really more long-term. If you wanted to have command and control, if you needed to control it, you'd need to do manufacturing and industry, right? You've got to control things like GM, Chrysler. You got to gobble up as much, not that you want to, but gobble up as much as you can. Then you control labor. If you control labor, you control industry. Well, guess who controls labor? Unions. Unions have more power than the average American. You know it and I know it. The #1 visitor in the White House is Andy Stern, the president of SEIU. Whose concerns are getting addressed first, his or yours? Let Barack Obama answer that one for you.
You will know who's on your side because I've been at this a long time. I spent my entire adult life working with SEIU. I'm not a newcomer to this.
You know, let me go down to the next one. Energy. You know, wait until you see at the bottom of the hour. Global warming rates, dead last among the issues of the day with the American people. Dead last. But cap and trade is in the new budget. Wait until I show you the game. At the bottom of the hour, the president is putting phantom profits into the budget from an energy policy we're nowhere near, close to passing. What does he know that I don't know? I mean, I don't want to hurt Mother Earth, and I don't think you do. But yet, they're going to force us to go green. How? Cap and trade. Watch.
Under my plan of a cap and trade system, electricity rates would necessarily skyrocket.
What is that going to do to our financial system? How about media and freedom of speech? How about the internet? Any network who doesn't get the thrill up their leg when listening to the president is harshly declared not a news network. The diversity czar at the FCC wants people to, quote, step down so someone else can have power, end quote. President Obama has tried to intimidate TV pundits as an enemy of reform in the State of the Union address. And boy, look what they are trying to do to the internet. Grab power. Education. They're nationalizing the student loan industry. That's part of this. And education. Now, education is much longer term. Now, this would mean that from cradle to grave, the state would have a grip on our educational system, already loaded with anti-capitalist propaganda, progressive revisionist history. In normal times, it would be outrageous to think anyone in our government, anyone, would want to fundamentally transform us into anything but a better, freer society as our Constitution dictates. But we're not living in normal times. I want you to remember some of the radicals the president has placed around himself and some of the things that those radicals have said. Watch.
We're trying to use the power of persuasion. And if that doesn't work, we're going to use the persuasion of power.
No, we're going to change the whole system. We're going to change the whole thing. We're not going to put a new battery in a broken system. We want a new system.
We kind of agree with Mao that political power comes largely from the barrel of a gun.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
We took names. We watched how they voted. We know where they live.
These are the people advising our president. You know about his other influences as well, Jeremiah Wright and Bill Ayers. Unthinkable. Unthinkable.
The Constitution is the fundamental law of the land. And everybody that works for the government takes an oath to uphold the Constitution. This government and this administration doesn't care about the fundamental law of the land. They want to change radically the way in which you live. They want to do it through changing manufacturing and industry. Why else would the government take over General Motors and Chrysler? They want to change it through banking institutions. Why else would the government force banks who sell their stock to the government when the banks didn't need the government money and didn't want the government involved? Why else would we have cap and trade? Do you really want a federal agent coming to your house to measure the thickness of the glass on your kitchen window before you can sell it to somebody that's ready to buy it? We have to watch out for all of this stuff because it's very subtle and yet potent ways that this government wants to take away our freedom and wants to enable itself to control our lives. Now, let's take a look at some of the other radicals that seem to have some pull with the president.